Good morning. Today's the 4th of December 2023 and I'm just going to recap the pre-market as it is and come up with some levels before we start, see what news we've got coming up today, see what could change and move the market. So 10 AM we've got factory orders month on month, so that's the only thing which is more than 2 or 3 out of 3, nothing of high importance. Excuse me. So on my screen is the MES or the ES chart, 1 hour time frame, and this is the S&P 500 index futures. Literally just got home in the last few minutes and I'm just reviewing the charts live right now. I've not even, last time I looked at the charts, I think it was around here, I was looking at the post market on Friday and I purposely didn't look at the charts today and it's pulled right back. So one thing of interest is that we did originally break out of this area, and I thought, you know, that was the break, the pullback and the push up market was probably going to go for, and that was a key area, and this trend line was a key area. You can see how much of a key area this trend line is. Let's just go back to the daily so you can see where we are. So the trend line on the daily basically links to all-time highs with this year's highs, and then we kind of look at that, it's kind of conclusive. We've rejected, touched the trend line there, rejected it, came into it, pushed up and come back down again. So this is the daily we're looking at, and it kind of did something similar here as well. If you look, we came into the trend line, which wasn't a trend line at the time because I only put this trend line together when we created this new high pivot. Came in, it touched it, then we had a couple of green days and then we saw the rejection. So let's just compare that. Came in, we touched it, we have a couple of green days and then coming in for the rejection. So maybe it's doing something similar to that area, just although we never did break that reversal candle high, but we did here briefly on Friday. So a little bit different. RSI on the daily is right up there at 70 as well, and it was in the same area when we rejected last time. So I do like to believe that in the market history does repeat itself, and maybe we could be looking at this turnaround, but we'll see where we are. But the worst thing is we come right back into this area of chop again, so it may not be a very good trading day today. So that's what we're looking at. So onto the hourly. Still got those trend lines I created back in a week ago, last Tuesday. I think it was Wednesday I created it, and then we cloned it just so you see what I do. So I take the trend line on trading view, hold down the control button and then just drag the trend line. That lets you clone it quite easily, and we could see this trend line forming at the push up, and I'm going to clone it one more time to see how that coincides with tops. So it's a rough area. If I go over the top of that pivot there, kind of came into that area. So we've got, this is our channel we're looking at, and I'm going to do one more clone to see whether we can clone it below. It's not a clone, that's a clone. Let's see if there's anything potentially we could watch for here as well. So these are potential areas we could watch for. I'm going to get rid of this bottom one because there's nothing anywhere near. So let's come up with some levels. Nothing looks good really. I think if we can get back down into this area of demand, 450, 4550, 4552 area, maybe there's a long play, probably at this level here, 4552. I quite like that area for a bounce. We've got this massive area of concentrated volume, so we've got this volume profile, and this orange line is our concentrated volume as well. And we've also got a daily level down that area, and this is where we chopped through it. You know, we couldn't really stick above it or below, we just chopped right down through the middle of it, and that's all we've done. And the only time it looked like we were going to push up was when it came back down on Friday, retested that area, and we saw that big green day. So potentially we could watch for a high risk bounce again, back down at 45.64 through to 45.66 area. So that's a higher risk play. rising 200 moving average, this orange line as well. So potentially we could see a bounce in this area. But there's nothing that really... No, that's the only place. I think higher probability bounce will be this area confluence. So we've got bottoms of candles there, tops of candles there. Not quite that. This is a zone, so it's that entire area. If we can get back down to this area as well, I quite like that area as well, 45.40. I've got an alert set for that area. So potentially there's, I might delete it by accident, but 45.36 is a bounce area as well. And if we do see significant weakness, then we get back down to this area, we've got this big void below. And so if we're short, well, if we do get down here, I want to try and find a reason to go short. We're still, before we start talking about shorts, we're still in hourly uptrend. There's nothing changing that yet. So we're putting in higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher low, higher high. Okay, lower low there. We talked about this pattern on Friday, the head and shoulders pattern. Higher high, potentially a higher low. So we'll keep an eye on this because we're not in a downtrend. We need to really break that pivot, really break this area to confirm the change of direction on the hourly. And just see what's in. No, there's no real good level, so I'm going to move on, I think, from this. So just to recap, we need to break 45.66 to 45.64, come back, retest for a short low with a target of this area, which is 45.52, and we definitely need to break this area confluence if we were going to talk about shorts. So I'm going to use it until we're in an uptrend and we're still looking for bounces. So I'm going to go for a bounce at 45.52, high risk bounce where we are right now down to 45.62, this entire area, and rejection has got to be Friday's high. So if we can see it come back up onto this trend line, then maybe that's a rejection area as well, but it'll be with confirmation. And so that'll be on a 5-minute chart, looking for a top and tail and like a shooting star candle, top and tail candle, and then we're looking for the break of that area down. That's it really. And then going back to what I talked about on Friday, we had this head and shoulders pattern playing out originally. We had the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and I thought we were going to see the breakdown, and I did a decent short there actually on that little tiny move, but it didn't hold. And then you could say there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern made out of that. So we've got the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline. You probably could have used this trend line as a neckline, and that would have been a great trade as well. I didn't take that one. In fact, Friday I struggled a bit. I was trying to go short at the levels I had, and had a losing day Friday, but it wasn't a bad tilt losing day. It was a biggish losing day, but not big as in like ones I was disappointed. I was disappointed the way I traded because I did get back this bounce off of the trend line in the last part of the day. But I shouldn't have traded that day. I had a death in the family, and there's a few things lining up which probably I wasn't feeling great as well. And broken that trend line now, and I probably should have just not traded at all Friday. So that's when you trade with emotions. It's not great. Okay, so let's quickly move on. We've got a quarter of an hour to go. SPY, very similar, I think. Yeah, this area here still for a bounce off of the 200 as well. So looking for 453.80 to 454 for a bounce area, and a rejection up here in this supply zone. These two areas. Probably now that level is invalidated. Let's have a look. So I'm going to move that level up to there to see where that goes when I come back over here. Look at that. No coincidences at all. It hit that pivot. It probably got above it and rejected. So that's a double top on the weekly or the daily. So we could watch for another rejection up that area, 459 to 460. Just two levels. Don't like this chop in the middle, really don't like it at all. And so I probably want to avoid trading it. Qs. Okay, looking a little bit weaker. Because on ES we could put those together. I suppose about the same. We've got that trend line there, it's broken the trend line. It's below the 200 moving average as well. Where were we below it? No, we weren't, that's above it. And we're still above it as well. So Qs is below the 200. So showing more weakness. And again, if I were to find a bounce, probably where it is right now, higher risk because that's where it is. It's an area of confluence. Let's just mark this up. And what I'm looking at is tops and bottoms of candles, probably about there. And I was using the bottom of that break and retest area there, happens to be a bounce area, another bounce area, and potentially we could watch that for a triple bottom. But we could just be looking at a bit of a like this outward bear flag, you know, I'm not sure, but it does look weaker than ES. So we've got a high risk bounce there, probably a high risk bounce there. We've got this void below as well we want to try and keep an eye on for. And we've got some bounces. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I'm going to say there's a high risk bounce at 40, 385, 386. And then we've got 380, 370 for another high risk bounce because there's not much volume down there. So that's why I'm saying it's high risk, even though it's further away. So not much on Qs. Let's have a look at Nasdaq. So we're kind of down at the area of confluence right now, right at the bounce area. Tops of candles there, tops there. Not quite bottoms, but near enough. Bottoms, bottoms, bottoms. So we could be looking for, on all these trades, especially with the Qs and the Nasdaq's being weak, we could looking for the pull back into this area for the drop down. But we've got potential resistance down here at 15,826. We've broken 16,000. I think if I was to look for a bounce, it's got to be 16,000 to 1632. I mean a rejection. And this is the key area. If we break down through that, then we have a change of trend on the hourly. So we need to come down, pull back and drop down. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Again, not brilliant levels. We've got this rejection at 16,208. Potential rejection here. Mark it up. And that would be 16,077. And we can watch this area as well for rejection. So tops and bottoms of candles, what I'm looking at there. 16,034. And then we've got a bounce area like we have on Qs around about there, and that coincides with the bottoms of this area. So higher risk, but probably the most probable trade. 15,863. This area here for a bounce. And I said there's not much more. You could go for the break and retest. If we can come back up here, pull back towards the VWAP and then come down, that might be a trade as well. Oil. No, again, it's a bit of a mess. Let's go to the daily. No, it's an oil chart. We were originally looking at this potential head and shoulders pattern. It's now invalidated because we've broken down, broken that pivot as well. So we could watch for a bounce around 72 to 71, right on this point of control area. But we've got a load of junk below, so 66 to 68 is a potential bounce area. This area here, probably along there. 68, so that's it, I'm putting it in at 68, bounce. And the best place. there. 67, 61 is what I'm waiting for a bounce. And there's no more really. If we can get over these two pivots here at $80, maybe a break and retest long. But we're now below the 50 on the hourly, and we're below the 200 as well. So long trades are kind of higher risk now for this particular stock. Oh wow, look at this gold. Coming right into a bounce area right now. Again, it's quite a wide range. So if we can see it bounce, which it just has done off of that top, so 2064, then we may see a bit of a bounce, but we are now against below the 50 and the 200, no, we're above the 200, below the 50. So broken that pivot there as well from Friday. That's actually from the pre-market actually. Yeah, it's difficult. I think the only bounce here is 2056, and then we've got the gap fill, and then maybe the bounce on the gap fill at 2044. That's it for gold, and I think that's it. Just curious, what is Bitcoin doing? Oh, look at that. I've got some cryptos. I've been adding to my cryptos this year as well, and it should all be doing pretty well right now. Look at that for an uptrend. Nice add location now, added along here. Hasn't quite broke 40. Oh, it has 42,000. Yeah. So I've got a probably from 2021 cryptos as well. So I'm probably back up to my break-even area now on those cryptos. But I've been buying into Bitcoin this year, not much, and it seems to be doing, when the stock market's reversed, well, it seems to be really strong. So probably looking at something like Coinbase or Mara might be a good stock to play today. Oh wow, look at that. Here we go. Big gap up. Is that a $10 gap almost? So potentially watch the breakout of over 148.50 for Coinbase. Look at that. Look where it was just a few months ago. Just a month ago, down at 76. It's now at 150 almost. What's it like on the daily? Just find a swing. That's too extended to swing at the moment. I think if it can get back down to 110, maybe 115, potentially a swing trade. Maybe even 116. Let's just keep an eye on that. And then we've got the rejection area. What's his name? There. But still a long way off. That could run well. It's a bit of junk here, but potentially $200. So it might be worth looking to try and find a swing trade on coin. I quite like the pullback. If it pulls back, comes back into that area, then for the potential run up. Okay, I think that's it really. Let's have a look at MA, see if it's changed anything. No, it's just further weakness since we've been on. So we've still got this area here, 45.64 is a potential high risk bounce. Kind of at the high risk bounce area it is, but I don't like this chop. I think it's a day to sit out of trading unless it comes down into the areas, our grade A, our A plus setup areas, and that will be down here at 45.52. And on SPY, the same, it's got to get down to 453.80, maybe 453.50 would be a better place. And then failing that, we've got that area of confidence just there. Just tops and bottoms of candles, 451 to 452 area. So that's it really. maybe just a day to reflect and backtest. Right, thank you for watching. Have a safe day trading, and I will see some of you in the trade room shortly.